not get me sick.
Everyone thinks I'm too young to be a ship's captain, but I'm going to prove them wrong. By inheritance, as my men are fond of saying. Can't blame them. My mother ran the Sea Squall as strictly as she ran the house. I've been trying to find new areas of business, trying to win the sailors' respect, but I keep having problems. Take the last trade we did. Some fine-cut void salts from the College of Winterhold. Plenty of coin if you know who to sell it to. Sailors are what happened to them. They got drunk and ended up losing the merchandise in some cave. If you're not afraid of a little exploring, I'll pay good gold to get those salts. Until next time.
By shore, is that Azure a star? How did you come to possess such a rare treasure?
What the? Excuse me.
Come to Dawnstar at a strange time, friend. Seems everyone in the town is having nightmares.
Your ancestors wouldn't want this, Silas.
Why should I hide from it? This is my family's legacy.
It's the past. Dead oaks.
The Museum of Dawnstar?
Let it
It's just
stay
some
there.
crazy guy's house with a few bits of old junk laying around. It seems anything will pass as a museum these days.
Can I help you?
I beg you, don't go into Silas's museum. Silas comes from one of the oldest families in Dawnstar. They have a complicated history. Several of his ancestors belonged to the Mythic Dawn, the cult that almost destroyed Tamriel. His family's involvement was only found out well after the crisis had died down, but it still ruined their reputation. They were outcasts. And now Silas is back, and this museum to the Mythic Dawn is his way of trying to rebuild his family's pride. It's misguided. Not a student of history, I see. It's for the best. They're a group that should be forgotten. The only thing you need to know is that they almost destroyed the world, and they were stopped a long time ago. That museum is a mistake.
I'm still here.
And here comes my first visitor. The Museum of the Mythic Dawn is open, friend. Yes, my collection of artifacts from a group that toppled an empire. Why don't you come in? You can browse the displays and we can talk. I have a job you look perfect for. Let's talk inside. Feel free to look around. Come talk to me when you're ready to discuss that job I mentioned. The tapestries hung here and outside were found in hideouts, where members of the Mythic Dawn would meet and plot. The cult's greatest accomplishment was the assassination of the Septim Dynasty and the opening of the Oblivion Gates.
The Twilight watches us all, Guardian.
Those robes were worn during the Mythic Dawn's secret meetings, where they plotted to bring the Daedra Mehrunes Dagon into Tamriel. Each bolt of yarn used to make the robe was colored with a dye, made from sacrificial blood. Yes, that scabbard. Notice the insignia? An Oblivion Gate. A key symbol of Mehrunes Dagon, the patron Daedra of the Mythic Dawn. That burned paper is all that remains of the fabled Mysterium Xarxes, the blasphemous book written by Mehrunes Dagon himself. It's said that Mankar
I can
Cameron
get
used
away
the book
with
to open a
anything in
portal to a
Skyrim.
paradise,
I just
where
act
all
all
his
cute
followers would
and
live
innocent,
forever.
and the guards turn a blind eye.
The
Not that I'm a
commentaries
bad
on the
person or
Mysterium
anything.
Xarxes were written by
Most
the
of the
Mythic
time.
Dawn cult leader, Mankar Cameron. He promised a paradise awaited his followers when they died, that they would be reborn by Mehrunes Dagon's side. Did you have any questions about the museum, or would you rather talk business? And here you are. I hope you found the museum to your liking. They were worshippers of Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Lord of Destruction and Change. The Mythic Dawn killed Uriel Septim VII and his heirs, triggering the events that led to the Oblivion Crisis when the Daedra invaded Tamriel. All that remains of the infamous cult, I've gathered in my museum. It's no secret that my family were once members of the Mythic Dawn. One of my forefathers was even chosen to assassinate Uriel Septim himself. We hid from our past for years, became tradesmen, people of coin and influence. But I realized that the Mythic Dawn's importance, our importance, to history cannot be denied. I'll see everyone in Tamriel remember that for a moment, we held the fate of the world in our hands, for good or ill. Ah, an excellent question. Mehrunes Dagon is the Daedric Lord of Change, Destruction, and Ambition. Dagon's Mythic Dawn cult killed the Septim dynasty and opened the Oblivion Gates into Tamriel. They called it the Oblivion Crisis. A little history first. After the Oblivion Crisis, a number of groups cropped up dedicated to wiping out the remnants of the Mythic Dawn. One of these groups found Mehrunes' razor, the artifact of Dagon. They split it into 3 fragments and pledged to keep them apart forever. That was almost 150 years ago, and the pieces are still being kept by the descendants of that group, and they're right here, in Skyrim. At least 2 of the owners, Gunzel and Draskua, are dangerous marauders, and the 3rd owner, Jorgen, I only know he lives in Morthal. Here are my notes about them. I'll gladly pay you for getting the pieces any way you can. No questions asked. The razor is Mehrunes Dagon's personal artifact. It has always heralded bloody change and carnage. It's held many names. Dagger of the Final Wounds, Bane of the Righteous, the Kingslayer. The Mythic Dawn worshipped Dagon as a god. Having his razor would be invaluable to my collection. Good luck finding the fragments.
So, all we have to do is fetch a few pieces for some blade? How hard can that be? This is usually the moment that we discover that we have to go to some forbidden place full of perilous danger. Oh well, I suppose that makes it more interesting.